Hi everybody, I'm the Marvelous Mary. I am back with my final breakdown and review of Bridgerton. I would say just like overall I really liked it. I did like it. It was fun. It was not super different than a ton of other shows or anything like that, but it was really fun. It was really well done, and I really enjoyed everyone's performances overall. There are some things that happened in the last few episodes that I was not a huge fan of, but we'll get there. Just so much takes place in this show in such a short amount of time. Like the episodes are 40 minutes long, just about each of them, some of them a little bit longer. But so much happens in that time that there's so many things, and I'm sure that I forgot like 1,000 different conversations and things that happen throughout, but so last time, yeah, they had done the duel. They thought they hit her, they didn't. So I wasn't sure if they were actually gonna get married. It was a whole kind of back and forth, and the oldest Bridgerton didn't think they were gonna get married, and then the wedding happens, and you're like, oh, okay, we're doing it. Like, all right, sounds good. And they really both seem like they're happy about it. They're excited about it. That sassy little weird girl, the one who wanted to be with the prince, she did actually, I guess, see them in the garden, even though I don't know how she saw them in the garden. She's like, I was on the terrace. And I was kind of like, okay, but the garden is like way over there. And the terrace, like the whole house is way over here, so I'm not really sure how you saw the terrace and why were you hanging out on the terrace by yourself. It's fine. Daphne's really supportive of the Duke because she is under the impression that he cannot have children. Not that he won't, but that he cannot. And the wording is very specific, and I believe I mentioned that in a video before where I was like, that wording is odd. She's very supportive of him. She's perfectly content, and you don't really understand like how naive she is until you find out that she has no idea how babies are made. She knows that you have to have sex, but she doesn't grasp the concept of fertilization. And so you're just kind of like, they're having this really great honeymoon, and they're kind of like standoffish at first, and they go to that little inn, and they finally kind of talk it out, and so many of the problems in this show could have been solved with a simple discussion. And I feel like that's how a lot of conflict is in a lot of movies and TV shows. Like, if they would just talk to each other, all of this could have been avoided. Because every time they actually have a conversation, stuff gets worked out. Usually for the better. So they're having their honeymoon, they're excited, they're having a good time, and she is perfectly content with how things are going, and, they're doing it everywhere, on the staircase and on everywhere. Having a good time. She's happy, he's happy, it's fine. So then, she's becoming friends with the staff, and so she befriends her maid, her, like, handmaid, and she very blankly and bluntly asks her, like, how do you have kids? And so she finds out. So she's really upset. And I can understand that. Like, I understand why Daphne's so upset. Like, she has wanted to have kids for as long as she can remember. She wants kids. She wants a family. But she was okay with just having her and the Duke because she knew that he couldn't have kids. And how unfortunate for him, and she felt so sorry for him. And then when she finds out and she realizes what he's been doing all along, she gets really upset. And I can understand why. Now, what she does to test him, I am not a huge fan of. I mean, I understand she's really upset. I understand. And I would be too if I felt like the person who I had married and fallen in love with had completely betrayed my trust. I would be very upset. However, I don't agree with the action she takes of kind of seducing him, taking control of the situation, and making him finish in her. It's really uncomfortable. It's a super uncomfortable scene because you can tell he's uncomfortable. You can tell he doesn't want to. Now, the reason he doesn't want to is because he's a deceitful jerk. But it's also not cool to do something that your partner doesn't want you to do. So I don't like the way she handled it. I really wish she would have just confronted him, but it doesn't make for good TV. So here we are. And, so she does that. And I mean, like, she got what she wanted. But then he is overwhelmingly upset. And they have the discussion that he said, I can't have children, not I won't. We knew it was going to come back and bite him. We knew it. I knew it. He doesn't really explain to her why he's so upset. He kind of says that, he does tell her, I swore on my father's deathbed that I would not let the lineage continue. The name would die with him, or die with me. And he tells her that. But she doesn't understand why. Like, she doesn't understand. So she just hears this, like, okay, so you're doing this out of a dumb revenge plot, but instead of being happy with me, like, you also made a vow to me, she says, and it's understandable. If he would have just talked to her, if she would have just talked to him, all of these things could have been resolved much easier and quicker. Then we have the family, and things are going on there. And we have the oldest brother who loves the opera singer and goes back and forth with her. And then we have Miss Thompson and the Featheringtons. I never know their names. I mispronounce them all the time. It's terrible. And, they're trying to get her married off. And the youngest Bridgerton child shows interest. And he's very sweet. And Pem, the youngest Featherington, loves him and is super infatuated with him. And also cares about him as a friend as well. But he, falls for Miss Thompson, and she's very pretty, and she does mislead him. That's crappy too. And I'm not saying I'm on the side of the guy necessarily, but his intentions are good. Like, he does really seem to like her, and he wants to be around her and spend time with her, and I think to a point she does actually care about him. It's just that her intentions are to look after herself and her child and be taken care of, which at the time, like, during that time period, I could understand. She's scared and she doesn't know how she's gonna take care of this child by herself and be okay and have a place to live and money and food and any of that. So I understand. It's just really crappy that you kind of have to take advantage of somebody who does have good intentions and, kind of mislead them. Well, obviously we have this side character. Oh, I just made a realization that was totally... we'll get to that. Wow. Should have seen it. I'm a better detective than that. A little disappointed in myself. Okay. So, we have this other character then, this Whistledown, who kind of outs people all the time. And she writes that the Featherington boy has been misled, that, this girl is with child, and this, that, and the other thing. It's a whole big scandal. Then Daphne hears about it, so her and the Duke go back to London. They are, at this point, fighting with each other, and he has basically said, if you're with child, I will take care of you, and, I'll make sure that you're good to go. If you're not with child, then you won't have to deal with me anymore. You'll never see me again. We will live out our days married, but not together, basically. So it's kind of a lose-lose either way. And then we have the side plot of the middle Bridgerton boy, who is the artist, and he's learning how to paint. And then he finds out that the artist that he's been friends with and has gone to the parties is gay, and he doesn't quite know what to do with that information. He sees them at a party, and he's not sure what to say. And I really like that character. The artist guy, not the Bridgerton artist, but the other guy. He is really lovely, and honestly, that love story, even though you don't really get to see it, is just pure and nice. And he says, I risk my life for love every day. And I don't even think you know what love is. I don't, he tells that to the Bridgerton boy. And I was just like, oh, man, stealing glances, because that people aren't going to approve, and just all of these things. And it was just really so sad and so genuine. Yeah, that part really got me. I liked that. It was really sad, but it was really it was really nice. Okay. So yeah, we got that whole thing going on. He's figuring out who he is. So when he says, you gotta go after love, you gotta just go for it, jump in, head first, do it. So the middle Bridgerton goes and befriends the seamstress, who is very nice, who is pretending to be a French lady. Good for her. There's just a lot going on. They're having their thing, trying to figure out who Whistledown is. Miss Thompson's having her thing. Daphne then tries to help Miss Thompson by befriending the general's wife to hopefully get in contact with George, so that, to make him, because at this point they think he's the villain. They think he has just written her off. So they want to make him not pay, but they want him to be held responsible. They want him to feel responsible and take responsibility for his actions, and not just leave her high and dry. So Daphne's trying to help, and Daphne goes to Danbury's girls' night, and it's so cool. They're gambling and drinking, and it's awesome. And Lady Danbury is by far my favorite character. She's awesome. I hope I'm like her when I grow up. She's great. She is funny. She is quick-witted. She is smart. She is tenacious. I love her. She tells you what's what. She tells it like it is. Oh, I love her. She's amazing. And Daphne's winning some money, and she befriends the wife, and she does, eventually she does write to the general. Miss Thompson tells Daphne, Daphne goes to tell her, hey, I wrote to the general, hopefully we'll be able to get in contact with George. And Miss Thompson's like, oh, well, the Duke signed it too, right? The Duke signed your letter. And she's like, well, no. And Miss Thompson's like, well, that's it. I'm never going to hear from him. I'm never going to Like, no one cares what a woman has to say. If your husband didn't sign it, then what good is it? Like, they're not going to listen to us. So we think, that's that. She thinks, this is it. I gotta deal with this. Pem and the middle Bridgerton girl fought. They've made up at this point. The Featheringtons are also, like, because of what happened between Miss Thompson and the Bridgerton boy, they are just, like, exiled from society. Like, it is that quick. And I mean, it's not like they were super popular to begin with in society, but, like, this happens, and the queen asks them to leave the ball, and they're not invited anywhere, and they have no money either because dad has squandered it all on bets and booze. And, he's traded their dowries and everything. It's like they just have nothing. And the girls don't know this. Mom does. Dad is trying to figure out a way to get back in, to get more money, whatever. So he goes to the Duke's boxing friend and says, hey, if you go in on this with me, I'll give you half of the winnings. It'll set you for life. You'll be good to go. And you only have to do this once. And he basically wants him to cheat. He wants him to lose so he can have a sure thing, basically, and bet a huge sum of money on a sure thing. Yeah. So at first you're like, oh, he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. And then it comes in a question like, how do I take care of my family? I can't fight forever, yada, yada, yada. At this point, Daphne and the Duke are still fighting. They go to a symphony, and she starts her period. So they know she's not with child. She's real upset. It's probably for the best. And he's like, okay, well, after, such and such time, then I'll go. You'll be rid of me. It'll be fine. You'll be better off. You're better off. He always tells her, you're better off without me. Which also just drives me crazy because for somebody who says he has so much respect for Daphne and so, he holds her in such high regard, he really doesn't give her the chance to make decisions for herself about him and their relationship. Now, I think those decisions should be made together more often than not, but, like, he doesn't really let her decide what's best for her in this situation. He says, oh, you'll be better off without me. Well, that's really for her to decide. You don't really get to decide that for her. And really, it should be something you decide together. So, whatever. But yeah, whatever. So, they're still kind of, like, miffed at each other, and they're still, you can totally tell that they still love each other, and there is a real, true love there, and they're just being stubborn. It's really frustrating. So, whatever. He goes to this boxing match, and she's getting ready for the ball that they're gonna have because they are having the last party of the season. So she's preparing for that. He goes to this boxing match. So Featherington dad bets his house, the deed to his house, on this match, and you're just like, oh god, because you don't know yet whether or not the guy has decided to lose or not. You don't know yet. You have an idea, but you're not sure. And he makes this bet. There's these two seedy guys, makes the bet, and they're like, we don't trust you, your word is nothing, we all know that you're garbage, so I don't trust you for anything. He's like, well, you don't have to trust me, you just gotta take my money, basically. And they do. And so, it's going on. Match is going on. And he does lose. And Featherington just freaks out. He's like, I won. And I'm like, dude, you gotta be more calm. Come on. Like, you're being very obvious right now. And you see the two, they pan over to these two guys, and you can just tell that they know. Absolutely that they know. Meanwhile, middle Bridgerton girl believes that she has figured out who Whistledown is. And she believes that it is the seamstress that her brother is dating. Now, I was positive from the moment that she said it that the seamstress was not Whistledown. In no way did I think that that was the case. It's fine. They really wanted it to be a misdirect. They really did. And I just did not buy it for a minute. That's okay. It's okay. So I was like, I was honestly like positive. At this point, I was like 90% sure that they were not going to reveal who Whistledown was. Pretty positive. And I was like, it's not her, or whatever. They can do what they want. It's not the seamstress. So yeah, match happens. Duke goes and talks to the guy who's just like, whatever, man. I can do what I want. You can't tell me how to best take care of my family. You need to go and deal with your wife. Like, there's clearly something wrong and you need to deal with it. And you never take care of the things and whatever. So while he's gone, Daphne has gone through a desk and a box full of letters. They were the letters that the Duke wrote to his father about his progress in losing his speech impediment, learning all of his lessons and fencing and all that stuff. She reads them all, and you really do feel sorry for him, and so she has a better understanding of what's going on and why he's so upset and why he really, really doesn't want the line to continue. And Lady Danbury comes in and she goes, yeah, I did help him, but ultimately it was all him. He's the one who did it, and it had to be his success. It had to be his win. She's so cool. Really nice ball. They've agreed to one dance, and they've agreed to this one dance, and it's going to be a waltz. And so they're dancing. It starts pouring. Everybody goes home. Lady Danbury sends everybody home because Daphne's just chilling in the rain. And she tells Simon, I read the letters. I understand better now. But you can choose to be happy. I love you. I love every part of you. It's a really sweet little speech. I love all your flaws. I love every dark place inside of you that you think you have. I love every part of your being. She's very sweet. And she goes, you can choose to love me as much as I love you and be happy, and we can get through this together, but it has to be your decision. And she leaves. And all these dominoes, man. All these dominoes. Oh, it's so much. So it kind of starts off with Featherington dad in this whorehouse, for lack of a better word. And he's drunk and whatever, and he's like, oh, you got the best girl for me. You got the best girl for me ready. And they're like, yeah, it's right through here. And he walks in the door, and I turned to Caleb and I was like, those guys are gonna be in there. Just watch. And I called it too. I was like, he's gonna die. Walks into the room. It's those two guys. It's the bookies, essentially. And they're like, join us over here. And I knew I was like, that's it. Dude's dead. He's done. That's it. They're taking everything. Oh, bad news. And then Whistledown happens. And then oldest brother goes to opera singer's house, who he has recently been hooking up with again. And she breaks up with him hard. You gotta let me go. And the look on this man's face is not the look of a stable person. He, I don't know what switch was flipped when she told him to go away, But there is one switch that is clicked off in his brain now. And it needs to be clicked back on for him to be okay. Because he is not okay. In any way. Then we also have who we thought Sir George, who was the soldier that Miss Thompson was seeing and whose child she was bearing. Might I add, Miss Thompson also makes a tea, like a poison, basically. I thought it was poison. And to try to kill the child, essentially. And then she really believes that, and she is now no longer with child because she hasn't felt anything in a few days, and she, just really believes that, she would have felt something if she was still with child. So yeah, she thinks she's without child. So, and then this Sir George shows up, but it's not Sir George, it's his brother, and we find out that Sir George actually did pass away. He was, however, writing a letter to Miss Thompson telling her how much he loved her and that they could run away together and have their child and be together, and he really loved her, and he had a perfectly logical explanation, or a perfectly acceptable explanation for why he hadn't written back to her as of yet. But he did pass away. Brother offers to marry Miss Thompson, but she thinks she's without child, so she says no. Then she feels a kick or something happens. She goes to the doctor. The doctor says, yeah, you're still having a baby. That happens. So we have Featherington Dad, who is probably getting the crap beaten out of him. We have Miss Thompson finding out she is in fact still with child. We have the oldest Bridgerton brother, heart destroyed. We have Whistledown being discovered, but actually not being discovered. And then, fleeing. We have the ball getting rained out, and Daphne telling Simon he has the choice to be happy and that she loves him for who he is. Whoa. Just all the things happening very quickly. So then lastly, we find out, here we go. Featherington Dad, mom and daughters get home, he's dead. House is going to someone else. We find out, the middle Bridgerton boy is still having his affair. He's dating the seamstress. And we find out that he was with her the night of the ball. And the middle Bridgerton girl is like, what? So then that's not Whistledown. No, of course that's not. And she's like, oh, she has this look on her face of, pure shock and awe, because she really believed it was the seamstress. I did not. The music is like, boom, boom, boom. It's this big twist that it's not the seamstress. Oh. I didn't think they were going to show us who Whistledown was. So I was honestly very surprised. They cut to a carriage, and, she says, basically gives this ending speech. And during things like that, we see Daphne and the Duke have a kid, and, so their story really turns out happy, which, I'm glad for them. But as she finishes up, she's like, I will reveal myself when I so choose. That will be up to me, dear readers, until next season. And it is Pem. It is the youngest Featherington girl, the cute little redhead. And I was surprised. And so earlier when I was like, oh, I should have seen it, because she got so upset with Miss Thompson when she found out that Miss Thompson was going to try to get the youngest Bridgerton boy to propose. She was so upset, and literally, nobody knew that this girl was pregnant except for, the housemaids, which we had already decided that none of the staff, no servants could be Whistledown, because they don't attend the parties, so they wouldn't have heard any of the other gossip. And I was just like, oh my god, of course. Because it literally happens like right after that, where she's outed and, you know, the Bridgertons have the whole shameful thing and whatever, and they all have to deal with it. Should have put those two together. But there's just so much happening, you don't even have time to think about it. But yeah, so it's Pem. And I don't know, Caleb and I have a theory. And it's really his theory, but I totally agree with it. Because here's the thing. So they reveal who Whistledown is. It's Pem. Well, if we know it's Pem, like, what is the draw for next season? Because they have confirmed there is going to be a season 2, which I'm excited for. How are they going to up the ante? You know what I mean? If we know who Whistledown is, why do we care? You know, we know it's Pem. Is it just like Pem? Is it going to be Pem trying to avoid being found out because, you know, now middle Bridgerton sister possibly knows that it's her? I don't know if she does or not. Or, and this is our theory, is there more than one Whistledown? Is it more than one person? It very well could be. So is it going to be, or is there going to be a copycat? You know, there could be so many things. I don't know. I'm interested to see what happens in the second season. I'm excited for the second season. So yeah, that is Bridgerton. It was a whirlwind of events, I tell you what. I have watched the man who plays the Featherington dad die in 2 different shows. And it's really upsetting. Yeah, okay, my overall consensus is I really liked the show. I thought it was a lot of fun. I will watch season 2. The acting is really great in it. Everybody does a great job. I would give it like an 8 out of 10. There were some times where I was like, oh my god, would they just have a conversation and get this conflict out of the way already? And they're both being so stubborn, and I'm so done. And we know they love each other. Can we just do something about this, please? Overall, I really enjoyed it. I did. Definitely really happy that everything worked out for them in the end. They basically got the only happy ending. Honestly, I would love to see more of kind of the side characters. I want to see more of the middle sister and her endeavors. I want to see more of Pem. I want to see more of Lady Danbury. I want to see more of the middle Bridgerton boy. I want to see them. Like, they were really interesting. I love Simon and Daphne. Don't get me wrong. Super sweet love story. But yeah, and I love the mom. I'd love to see the mom interact with some of her other kids. And the whole show was about love and fortune and misfortune and secrets, and it's Gossip Girl. We're just watching Gossip Girl. It's in a different time period. Ultimately it's love, betrayal, secrets, everything like that. And I appreciate that, but I was really interested in some of those middle characters and the things they were doing and some of the emotions and the events that they were having to deal with. Honestly, I really want to see how the middle Bridgerton sister has to deal with her conflicting ideals. Like, that to me is super interesting because she is a strong-willed, smart, independent woman who doesn't want to get married. She doesn't care about finding a husband, and she makes like this remark to the guy walking on the stairs. It's so funny. She's just basically like, no, get the hell out of here. No. Go sit down, little boy. I'm sorry. I don't want this. I want to see how outspoken she is, and I want to see her, finding out that Pem is Whistledown and being so proud of her, and I want to see that friendship. And so I really hope that season 2 gives us that and gives us the insight into some of these other characters. And honestly, I guess I got what I wanted. In the first episode, I really wanted the youngest Featherington girl to come out of her shell and stick up for herself and find her voice, and and all along she did have a voice. It was just through a different means, and she's like, so good for her. I guess I'd like to see her step from out behind the curtain and, say stuff out loud. But, I got what I wanted. I found out that she is more strong-willed than you would have imagined. Yeah. Good show. It was a good show. I highly recommend it. I apologize. I really explained most of the plot within all these videos. So if you didn't want to watch it, you really don't have to because I explained all of it. It's fine. But if you do want to watch it or if you want to rewatch it and, you can, tell me that I'm wrong, whatever, it's fine. 8 out of 10. Would recommend. I'm excited to kind of start some other things. I have so much going on right now, you guys. I just got promoted too, so now I'm running a store and I'm getting married, so I'm planning a wedding, and I start school at the end of this month on the 29th. Yeah, so I'm making content, and I am going back to school full time, and I am running a store, working 40 hours a week, and I am planning a wedding. It's fine. That's about all I have. If you have any shows you would recommend to me, let me know. I think I am also going to do a review on Evil Genius. It's a documentary. I'm not going to give too much away. If you haven't seen it, go watch it because I definitely want to talk about it. It's not cool, but it's cool. It's interesting. If you are a first-time viewer, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. I super appreciate it. I am trying really hard to get to a place where I can monetize some of my videos. It's going to help me pay for school. It's going to help me pay for the wedding. We are also trying to buy a house, so got a lot of stuff going on. So if you can hit that subscribe button for me, hit those likes for me as well. I would greatly appreciate it. If you are a returning viewer, I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate you listening to this absurd redheaded lady yammer on about stuff that she thinks is fun and cool. So I appreciate you. Thank you all so much. You can check out my Instagram and my Facebook. I always post updates there when I'll have new videos out. And what they'll be about, so you can kind of plan for stuff and things like that. But thank you guys so much. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I appreciate you, love you all, and I will see you next time. Bye.